Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5 a.m., 2 immigration bills up for a vote today as the Biden administration scrambles to house 4,000 unaccompanied minors at the border. The Homeland Security Secretary says it's not a crisis. We'll tell you what those bills could do. Plus, another record-breaking day in Kern County for COVID-19 vaccinations. What to do and not to do when it's your turn to get the shot. And Congressman Kevin McCarthy lends his voice to the calls for the release of a Kern County man imprisoned in Russia. We'll tell you what he did to get there and what's being done to get him let go. This is Thursday, March 18th, 2021. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher and looking for another beautiful day. Yesterday up here in Tehachapi, the sun came out, and though it was still a little cool, it was just beautiful. But I know we have another chance of rain headed our way, so that's great news.
And I thought we at least got a little bit of a clue of what's to come yesterday, late evening, when the clouds started to come on in. Let's turn things over to Kevin Charette. He's got a look at our forecast and the possibility for a chance of rain. Good morning, Kev.
Good morning. Yeah, it's kind of a two-part system. There's a weak front moving through right now. The one that we're going to be tracking that could bring us the potential for rain will come in as we head into Friday night. But as I show you the satellite and radar right now, we definitely have some high clouds pushing through and radar picking up a few echoes. But I don't think that moisture is actually going to hit the ground. The atmosphere is a little dry, and so basically virga. But we definitely will see a mix of sun and clouds today, I think. And as we take a look at downtown, you can see it is dry out there. And we're looking at 53 degrees on the temperature currently. A southeast wind at 3 miles per hour. And as we take a look at the hour by hour mix of sun and clouds, as you can see, it's going to be another warm day with temperatures back into the 70s. We didn't quite make it yesterday, but today we should be right around 73, 74. Out of the Tehachapi area, we're dry there as well. We've got a temperature of 34 in east-northeast light at 3 miles per hour. And as we take a look at the day, starting out with a little bit of cloud cover, and then throughout the day, we'll look for a mix of sun and clouds, and temperatures will be on the mild side with upper 50s and lower 60s. I'll have much more in your pinpoint forecast coming up in just a bit. For now, we'll send it back over to you.
All right, Kev, thanks so much. Your time now is 5:02, and a grim milestone in Kern County yesterday as we learn of 1,000 people who have died from COVID-19. This on the one-year anniversary of health officials confirming our first local case of the novel virus. Kern Public Health announced 17 new deaths yesterday, bringing our death toll to 1,010. In addition, they announced 124 new cases. Our daily average is down to 86, the lowest it's been in several months. 108 people are in the hospital, 26 are in the ICU. And with local deaths totaling more than 1,000, 17 News is reaching out to those who have lost a loved one. We've provided a space for the community to honor those who died by uploading their photos and sharing their names and memories. That's why we launched the Those We've Lost Gallery. If you would like to post a picture, we have a link on our website, kget.com. And Kern County is making strides when it comes to getting everyone vaccinated for COVID-19, but there is still a long ways to go. State data shows Tuesday was another record-breaking day for the number of vaccines administered in one day. More than 7,500 shots were given on Tuesday. That is 619 more vaccines given in one day than the previous record set on Sunday. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine now being given to people locally, and public health expanding eligibility to more people is just a couple of the reasons why we're seeing this welcome increase in vaccines administered. With these new numbers, here's a look at how many people have been vaccinated. The green bar indicates how many people have been fully immunized, and it's about 58,000 people. The blue bar represents the more than 68,000 people who have received their first dose of the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine. That means nearly 900,000 others in Kern County are still waiting their turns.
And here's a look at who's eligible to get the vaccine right now. The newest group added includes pregnant women and those with serious health conditions like cancer or type 2 diabetes and chronic kidney disease. It also covers people with developmental disabilities and those in certain work settings like public transit and prisons. Public health officials say it will be easy for those in high-risk groups to sign up for their shots. Meantime, if you need to sign up and you're eligible, you can use the state's website, myturn.ca.gov, or call 833-422-4255 in order to schedule that appointment. Your time now is 5:05 on this Thursday morning. More than 73 million Americans have received at least their first dose of the coronavirus vaccine. So what should you do or not do when it's your turn to roll up your sleeve? NBC's Sarah Dalif reports.
As more shots go in more arms,
there's an end in sight. I feel like, the future is definitely more hopeful.
The more questions people have about what to do and not do when it's their turn.
People are very excited about that and how they can participate and help accelerate and move that forward.
Northwestern Medical Center infectious disease specialist Dr. Irfan Hafiz says if you're worried about an allergic reaction, talk to your doctor. Don't take or increase allergy medications. They're unlikely to prevent anything.
In general, the allergic reactions are rare. We now know it's about 2.5 cases per million people vaccinated.
The CDC says you can take ibuprofen and Tylenol after vaccination to relieve any side effects you may experience.
Most people are noticing this after the second dose.
Alcohol or exercise in moderation are unlikely to affect the immune response, but something that may be impacted? Mammograms. The vaccine can cause lymph nodes to swell temporarily, which could show up on imaging exams.
It may be important to make your physician aware of that. So either get the imaging done before vaccination or about a month after that.
As for which vaccine you should get, any of them, says Dr. Hafiz.
Please do take the first available vaccine that you can get.
Shots of hope as vaccine distribution expands. Sarah Dalif, NBC News.
Meantime, the World Health Organization says that countries using the AstraZeneca shot should continue to distribute the vaccine. The Vaccine Safety Panel released those recommendations yesterday after more than a dozen European countries temporarily paused use of the AstraZeneca vaccine. According to the statement, scientists will continue to review safety data for the vaccine after it was linked to reports of blood clots. However, they say the benefits outweigh any risks.
It was toned down a bit this year, but people still turned out to celebrate St. Patrick's Day last night. McMurphy's Irish Pub in East Bakersfield hosted guests underneath a white tent complete with music and dancing. Another popular venue, Pyrenees Cafe, was closed yesterday, but they have plans to reopen later today. A popular local eatery that has been closed for 3 months is getting ready to reopen. In a news release, Hodell's Country Dining said it will reopen on Tuesday. It's located northwest of the intersection of Knutson and Olive Drives. The city of Tehachapi has received a generous donation to keep its small business loyalty program going even longer. The program, which runs throughout the month, offers $20 gift cards for use at local restaurants for those who purchase more than $100 in goods and services from small businesses within the city. We learned local realtor Stacy Peel donated $1,000 to the program to buy even more gift cards. GetBus is going green. The Golden Empire Transit Board of Directors approved pursuing hydrogen fuel technology in anticipation of 5 new hydrogen buses arriving in the next few months. The move will allow GET to move forward on meeting state regulations, which require GET to purchase and use buses powered by alternate fuels with the lowest possible emissions. The board also approved increasing service, including the expansion of on-demand rides from the southwest into downtown and the east side of Bakersfield.
And welcome back here at 520 in Washington today. Lawmakers are dealing with a trio of critical issues. 2 immigration measures up for a vote. There's testimony today on hate against Asian Americans. And the CDC and other top health officials are giving an update on COVID. Tracy Potts is tracking all 3 stories for us from Washington.
Hi, Maddie. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. There's a lot happening on Capitol Hill today. We start with immigration. The Senate, it's not even clear they'll take it up, but House Democrats have scheduled 2 votes for today. 2 immigration bills are up for a vote in the House of Representatives today. Legal status for farm workers and citizenship for dreamers as the Biden administration scrambles to house 4,000 unaccompanied minors at the border. The Homeland Security Secretary says it's not a crisis.
A crisis is when a nation is willing to rip a 9-year-old child out of the hands of his or her parent.
40 Republican senators wrote the Government Accountability Office complaining about President Biden freezing border security funding.
We don't believe they're following the law. This is money we appropriated for border security, including the border wall.
Also today, a House hearing on hate against Asian Americans after 8 people, including 6 Asian women, were shot at Atlanta area spas.
There is bigotry in the land, and far too much of it.
As authorities investigate whether this was a hate crime, the nation's first Southeast Asian vice president is speaking out.
We also want to speak out in solidarity with them and acknowledge that none of us should ever be silent in the face of any form of hate.
And the nation's top doctors are back on Capitol Hill today with an update on COVID and vaccines.
While we have recently seen reductions in cases and deaths, we must remain cautious.
What else do we see?
The CDC will issue new guidance on whether students in the classroom should be 3 or 6 feet apart. Health experts say there should be a vaccine for high school students by this fall. For younger students, early next year. The president is set to speak on vaccines later today. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
5:25 now, and the Internal Revenue Service is pushing back the tax deadline by 1 month to May 17th. That's according to 2 members of Congress. The delay will give people more time to prepare their income tax returns and pay the IRS any money that they owe. It also gives the agency more time to process returns after sending out another round of stimulus payments under the recently passed American Rescue Plan. After the December relief bill, the IRS pushed back the start of tax season just a few weeks. A statement from Representatives Bill Pascrell and Richard Neal applauded the tax deadline delay, saying taxpayers need the flexibility in a, quote, time of unprecedented crisis.
It's tough keeping an indoor climbing gym clean during COVID. Hands and feet are everywhere. But as Jalissa Irizarry reports, business owners say they hope a new discovery will have people climbing the walls again in a safe environment.
A countrywide shutdown will make you climb the walls. The drop in socialization and, well, doing what you love can take its toll. For Dan Howley,
yeah, absolutely.
His price was temporarily shutting down his climbing gym, only to reopen with safety measures hard to handle.
And this is a climbing gym. We touch everything. That's what we do when we come in. And so cleaning everything every time somebody touches it, it's not like a dumbbell. It's just impractical and can't be done.
But a new Denver-based product may have made things easier. It's a liquid chalk by Friction Labs, and researchers at CU Anschutz discovered
it killed coronavirus. Yeah.
The liquid chalk is 80% ethanol. Researchers discovered after 5 minutes on your hands, it worked as good, if not better, than FDA-approved hand sanitizer. Professor Ross Kettle helped make that discovery early in the pandemic and called it the brightest spot of his year.
It was a really fun thing to be able to tap into and sort of keep hope alive during the early pandemic days.
That hope is something Howley has held on to.
The fact that people can put this on their hands and within 5 minutes it neutralizes the virus took a huge pressure off, and it let our customers know, oh, okay, this isn't the dangerous environment that we otherwise would have been afraid that it would be.
Fear at gyms is something Howley is confident will fade. After all, it's only up from here.
Your time now is 5:36. 2 men charged with pouring boiling water on the back of a disabled woman they were hired to care for have each pleaded no contest to a felony abuse charge. Court records show that Gabriel Monsibayas and Anthony Alvarez pleaded no contest yesterday to causing injury to an elder or dependent adult. Torture and assault charges on a person with force likely to produce great bodily injury were dismissed against Monsiváis under the plea agreements, and an accessory charge was dismissed against Alvarez. The two were charged in August of 2018 after Monsiváis admitted his abuse of the woman to Kern County Sheriff's investigators. Sentencing for the two men is scheduled for later next month on April 18th. And a homicide investigation is underway this morning in Rosamond. The Kern County Sheriff's Office says it's looking into the discovery of human remains. The remains at least appear to be human, according to KCSO. They were found yesterday afternoon in a desert area near Rattlesnake Road. KCSO says homicide detectives responded to the scene and have taken over the investigation. Anyone with information on the remains is urged to call KCSO at 861-3110, or you can remain anonymous by calling the Secret Witness Hotline. That's 322-4040. Meantime, a man's in critical condition after he was hit by a suspected drunk driver. It happened just after 8 last night in the 2500 block of White Lane near El Potrero in South Bakersfield. According to police, the man was crossing White Lane outside of a crosswalk when he was hit. The driver stayed at the scene and was arrested on suspicion of DUI.
From our 17 follow-up file, 2 Bakersfield police officers remain on leave more than 18 months after one was accused of workplace violence and the other domestic violence. BPD Assistant Police Chief Evan Demestajas has remained on administrative leave since September 4th, 2019. Joe Mullins, the department's other assistant chief, has been on leave since June 30th, 2020. Mullins was placed on leave following a workplace violence complaint. Demestajas for an accusation of domestic violence. Prosecutors declined to file charges against Demestajas after the woman involved in the incident denied she was the victim of a crime. BPD policy does not put a time limit on how long an internal investigation can last, but so far, there have been no further developments. Welcome back. Your time now is 5:49 in your 17 Health Watch. Spinal muscular atrophy is a rare progressive neuromuscular disease that can be deadly. There are 3 types of SMA, and until recently, there was no treatment for the rare disease. Now patients living with SMA have some bubblegum flavored hope in a medicine bottle. 17's Ileana Capien joins us with more. Ileana?
Good morning, Alex. Jacqueline Cabrera is 19 years old, and for years after being diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy, there was no treatment. Now her life is full of hope because the FDA has finally approved a treatment plan that works for her. Jacqueline Cabrera was 3 years old when her parents first realized she wasn't running and playing games the same way other kids were.
I remember being in PE when I was in middle school and not being able to do what other kids would do, like simple stuff like run the mile or do some squats.
Unbeknownst to her, not only was spinal muscular atrophy causing her physical issues, but emotionally, it was taking a toll too.
Like, the bullies in high school be like, oh, like you fell or, but at the end of the day, it's just stuff that you end up getting used to. So, especially at that age, it was hard, but now it's just memories, so it's fine.
But it wasn't fine. Cabrera started purposely missing school to avoid mile days in PE, causing her parents to take things more seriously.
Like trying to do what they want you to do or comparing yourself to the other students that were there that could do what you couldn't. And it's like kind of simple things like that. It's just running a mile, but it's not just running a mile for me. It takes a lot more work for me than it does for everybody else.
See, SMA is a genetic condition that causes weakness and atrophy in the muscles. And after years of doctor's visits, hours on the road, and medical tests, doctors were finally able to diagnose her. But that was only the beginning of what she calls the biggest battle of her young life.
Okay, I know what I have now. Like, how do we treat this? But it's also like, oh, like you have this, but there's also no treatment. So at that time, we were like, you know what, like Dr. Shea was like, there is some treatments coming. Like, we just have to wait a little bit.
And wait, she did. Cabrera waited 5 long years until August of 2020 when the FDA approved Evrysdi as the first at-home treatment option for adults and children 2 months and older.
Evrysdi came along and I was like, oh yes, like finally, it gives me a sense of hope. Like it's going to stop me from getting worse and it hopefully helps me get better. And now I've been on Evrysdi for almost about 6 months straight. it's been pretty good. I mean, it tastes great. It's not like when you take it, it doesn't taste bad, but it tastes like bubblegum, so that's fine.
GeneTech, the creators of Evrysdi, sent us a statement in regards to the success of Evrysdi. The statement reads in part, "We are extremely proud to have brought this groundbreaking medicine to the SMA community, a community whose strength and resolve has continually inspired us. Evrysdi, with its favorable clinic profile and oral administration, is an important advancement for people with SMA." And that's coming from Dahlia Mawood, who is the head neuro rare disease at U.S. Medical Affairs for GeneTech. Cabrera says that since she started her treatment, she's been feeling stronger and is celebrating little accomplishments like making it up her front porch steps without any issues. In studio, Ileana Capean, 17 News.
All right, thank you, Ileana. 5:52 is your time now, and also in health news this morning, too much time in front of a screen could put preschoolers at risk for emotional and behavioral problems. A new study from Finland tracked nearly 700 children from birth to age 5. It showed extensive use of electronic media at 18 months was linked with a 59% higher risk of friendship issues by 5 years old. An excess of total screen time at the age of 5 was associated with an increased risk of ADHD, impulsivity, and behavior problems. A lot of people, I think, struggling with that right now through young kids and distance learning. Maximum recommended daily use of electronic media for preschoolers is 60 minutes. 5:53 is your time now, and also in health news this morning, traffic deaths in the U.S. are on the rise. That's according to a new study from the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics. It shows that after an 8-year decline, motor vehicle fatalities started to increase in 2010. Traffic death rates are highest among men and adults over age 65. Pedestrian fatalities have also increased slightly over the past decade, but motorcycle deaths remain stable.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.